evening. Happy New Year to everybody. Thank you for joining me on the uh, final episode of the 4 Train Express for 2023. I have a couple of people with me today: Jason of 161 River Ave and Dane Huber of NYY Underground. We do have a guest who is supposed to join us today. So we're just going to kick this off, talk about a few things, and until our guest gets here, and then we will go from there. Guys, how you doing?
Great.
Very, very good. Man. Looking forward to a 2024 being a bigger and better for all of us than 2023 was. So
absolutely.
Yeah, man. So thank you to all that watch everything we talk about,
and especially our Yankees.
And our Yankees too. Thank you so much for bringing what you bring to the live streams, to the chats, to everything. So we appreciate all of you.
You guys really do make it better. You guys really make it more fun and much more.
I'm sorry, you're cutting out. I can't.
You good, Dane?
Can you hear us, Dane?
Can you hear us?
Yeah, something's my internet's cutting out or something. Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah,
okay, cool.
You there?
Yeah, I'm here.
No.
Sorry, Dane's having a little technical difficulties. He'll be back with us. But thank you guys, everyone who has not only subscribed to my channel, but to Jason's channel, Dane's channel, all of it, NFE's channel, Chris's channel. Thank you guys so much. It means the world. But we're here to have fun. And you guys really make it fun and enjoyable to do. So thank all of you guys.
Yes,
so first topic of the night, moving forward. We know the Yankees are a team that's in desperate need of 2 starters. We know that Miami still has pitching that we could use. We have pieces that the Marlins can use. It will be a nice trade, a nice fit. What do you guys think of possibly doing a trade with Miami to get maybe an Edward Cabrera or a Trevor Rogers as one of your starting pieces?
I mean, I would shoot for Luzardo if we could, but I think Miami and Seattle are probably the only teams that represent fits where they would not need arms in return. They would need bats in return. So those are the 2 teams I would hone in on. The Guardians, they're going to want an arm. White Sox, they're going to want an arm. The Brewers, they're going to want an arm. So I'm going for Marlins. I'm looking in Seattle too. They have cheap, controllable arms on both sides, and that's exactly what we need. And we have the bats that they need on the cheap. So, and if Seattle's having some kind of financial difficulties, then cheap, controllable bats for them. Marlins, they operate on the cheap, so cheap, controllable bats would be good for them too. So those 2 teams, I think, represent the best fits. And like you mentioned, Trevor Rogers or Cabrera, I think at the end of the day, if the Yankees got 1 righty and 1 lefty, would be a good thing. I mean, if it was 2 lefties, it's 2 lefties. But 2 starting pitchers, one way or the other, I think is going to. We need guys that can throw innings because there's no point building a super pen when we don't have the arms to get us to use a super pen. Otherwise, a super pen is going to be gassed by July. No more super pen. So we need 2 starting pitchers.
Absolutely.
More importantly than getting a super closer. So, what's your take, Dane?
I think they need 1, and they'll go with a kid with the other. I would really like to see Edward Cabrera get matched up with Blake. Stuff wise, Cabrera has as good a stuff as you're going to find. He's got a 70 grade fastball, 65 grade slider, and 255 grade with his changeup and his curveball. Guy throws 98, has 4 years of control. If you can get him to throw strikes, that's a heck of a piece for you.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, go ahead.
And I think Will Warren or maybe Luis Hill would. Hampton's probably 6 months or probably a half a season away.
Mm-hmm. He's in Double A, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
He finished in Double A, but he only threw 106 innings last year and 66 the year before. So he has to build up his arm strength a little bit.
And his upside is crazy high.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's higher than any other right-hand pitcher in our system.
Yep.
So there's two names that come to mind because Jason, you brought up Seattle, and it's interesting you brought up Seattle because there's two starters there that I would heavily consider. One of them would be George Kirby, a 25-year-old right-handed pitcher from them. If you give me 1 second, I can tell you how many years of control he has left. He's 25, and he is from Rye, New York. So he is a native New Yorker, but he won't be a free agent until 2029. So that's 5 years of team control. That's going through his pre-ARB stage, his ARB stage, and then his free agent stage. The other one would be Brian Wu, also a right-handed pitcher. Brian Wu is a 6'2", 205-pound, 23-year-old right-handed pitcher with 6 years of team control left. So he wouldn't be a free agent until 2030. So those would be two starters I would consider looking at from Seattle if they wanted bats, cheap, controllable bats. And then obviously the big piece in that I would want would be Andres Munoz. Jason, you and I have talked about it, and you and I have talked about him, Dane.
Yes, absolutely.
He is. I look at Andres Munoz as a special talent. The Padres had him at one point, and they let him go to Seattle. He may not have closed last year, but he will more than likely be guaranteed that closer spot this year because Diego Castillo just signed a deal with the Texas Rangers.
Mm-hmm.
So I can tell you now, he is a special talent. He has a wipeout slider. I want to say he probably has a grade 45 slider because of how much it breaks and how much control he has over it, with a plus fastball, which is probably one of the best fastballs we've seen since a young Edwin Diaz. Because if you look at his makeup and his build, his fastball tops out at 100, 101, give or take, with a slider that tops out at 85, 86, with about a foot and a half of break. So we're looking at a kid who's a special talent. And as we continue this, I will look up his grades on it, but he is a special kid. And that would be a piece I would consider looking at heavily if I'm the Yankees and I need a closer. He's good, he's young, and he's got 4 years of control left. Plus, he's got two options for 27 and 28, which would give you up to 6 years of team control if you ended up trading him and picking up those options.
Mike, I got a third one for you. Check out Bryce Miller from Seattle, another underrated on 5
Bryce
years.
Miller.
Emerson Hancock is another guy that they would be looking to move.
Yep. Yeah, so they're like the Marlins. There's multiple arms that might be available. So that's where you have the pickings there. And you know, they might want to give you these two, but here's these two that you can take from. So that's why I think the Marlins and the Mariners represent good fits for the Yankees, because there are multiple arms to choose from. And to Bryce and to Dane's point too, like he's right too. It doesn't always have to be two free agent pitchers or a trade and a free agent pitcher. It could be a trade and a kid, a signing and a kid, one of our own guys. Because like, well, why you say Will Martin he's right there. He's right there, and he's got the best stuff, or some of the best stuff in our system. So I would be totally fine with that too. We got the right fit, and I think that's the key as well. But one of these guys and one of the kids, I think, would be a heck of an addition. Then they could just pivot over to getting another arm in the bullpen if they wanted to do that. And that would also allow them, if they could trade for one of these guys and use one of our kids, they've done it on the cheap and they've gotten way better.
Yes.
So, and it doesn't always have to be the expensive pieces. Doesn't always have to be the big names. It's names like this. Last year I was just as excited about Wandy Peralta and Ian Hamilton than I was about Garrett Cole. So,
Yeah.
and Hamilton, we found him in a dumpster, and he turned into a Harry Winston Diamond. Like, you never know.
So the prospects report on Andres Munoz, Jason and Dane, is this. He had an 80 out of 80. This is grade-wise for his fastball. For his slider, he had a 55 out of 60. For his command, he had a 30 out of 40. And for his fastball velo, he had a 40+.
Not bad.
So that's what we're looking at when you look at this kid. So this is the one kid I've been following since he was in San Diego. And when San Diego decided to let him go, I said, that is going to come back and bite them.
Yeah.
Because he is a special talent with a big arm.
Yeah. And to JJ's point, he's saying, could we not use Hampton, Warren, and Beater? Yeah, in my opinion, we're trying not to. We're trying not to give these guys away. Like, these are the guys that we want to keep. They're all rated higher than Drew Thorpe was.
Yep.
So Thorpe's got good stuff, but those guys are rated higher than him. So I think there was a little bit of a method to the trade magic too, which is why they gave up Thorpe and not these guys, the Padres, right? Why they gave up King for 2 years of control instead of Schmidt for 4 years of control. So I think there was some method to their magic there.
If you look,
go ahead, Dean.
If you look at Will Warren, he's the one guy that they have kept through all the pitchers that they have traded. They have held on to him, and it's because he's got special movement on his stuff. You don't see pitches move like his do. And I don't think he's going to be a top of the rotation starter, but he's going to be a 3-4 and a really good one, in my opinion.
Take that all day.
Yeah.
Take that all day, man.
There's one kid that Dane had sent me some video on, and it was Leilani, the first name.
Henry Leilani?
Yeah.
Henry Leilani.
Yeah.
And he has a big arm for such a young kid.
Dominican Republic 2021 signing.
Yeah.
Dominican Republic. He's like he's almost like a CC Sabathia clone. 6'8", towering left-handed pitcher.
Kind of has the Chris Sale arm slot.
Yes. Yeah, with Sabathia's size. So kind of an intriguing option. Yeah, and he's already I think he might be 12th or 10th in their system. So that's pretty high.
I think he's going to be our number one pitching prospect by the end of the year.
I wouldn't be surprised. He keeps progressing. Wouldn't be surprised at all.
You said his first
name
was
what?
You said his first name was Henry?
Henry
yes.
Okay.
Leilani.
Let's take a look.
And he just signed for a ton of money with Boris to be his agent.
Yeah.
So we all know
I think he got more money from Boris than he did for a signing deal.
No surprise.
That wouldn't surprise me.
Boris is locking him up. He's locking him up quickly. So
they got LaGrange too.
Did they?
Yeah.
Boris did.
Unbelievable.
And Arias.
Arias too. True. He's got it set up.
Yeah, he's definitely getting.
JJ said if a Managa had a 2.96 ERA in Japan, what would it translate to MLB a year and a 5? No, it would not necessarily. There's a couple of things, JJ, I think that are important to factor in. The pitching coach that he's working with, the team that he's on. Okay, that doesn't always. It's not a massive jump up, as well. So he could be a better fit here than Yamamoto for all we know.
Yeah.
Don't know. Yamamoto he came with all the hype. Now he's got to back up that hype for 12 years.
Not only does he have to back up that hype for 12 years, but he's got to do it under a $325 million contract.
Yeah. And if Imanaga came, if we got Imanaga, let's just say for $100 million, was a third of, and that would be like, I don't know, $12 or $11 million signing posting fee, which is a heck of a lot less. So
he doesn't even have a posting fee, does he?
He's Japanese. He is. He's from MPB.
Yeah.
No, I know that, but I'm saying because he exceeded the time.
He was in the last year.
Oh,
so the last year, the cutoff year. So he would come at a posting fee, Managa.
Okay.
But 296 would not necessarily translate. And again, it's important to. I think it's at least to me. I think it's important that there might not be a huge increase in the ERA. Okay,
Yeah.
and the fact is, he has a very low. I know people are concerned about him giving up home runs, right? And I did this thing this morning. I put out a chart. And we talked about all the players that people want the Yankees to trade for, sign. They all give up more home runs than Imanaga has. Every
Yeah.
single one. Okay.
And
And
Garrett
There's
Cole
not the
wasn't even
power.
like-
yeah, and the other thing too, to Dane's point too, like he doesn't walk a lot of guys. So when he gives up home runs, there's hardly anybody on base.
Yeah.
That matters.
And we saw him destroy a really good Yankees or United States WBC team.
He shut
He
them
ran
down.
through that.
Best
Yeah.
bats. All of them. In the World Baseball Classic final, he dominated them. So like
Absolutely.
he's
He looked
okay.
as good as
One of the best
Yamamoto
players
in
made
the
us look
W.
bad, is what he did.
Yeah, I mean, he did it when it counted the most. I don't care if he's sexy or flashy. Like Greg Maddux wasn't flashy, but
No, but he was dominating.
yeah, he dominated with what, a 91 mile an hour fastball?
You don't have to
No.
throw 98 to 100 with every pitcher to be dominating. Look at Greg Maddux, like you said.
He had pinpoint control. He knew how to paint every corner like a magician. So
Look at Tom Glavine.
Glavine.
No,
Go ahead, Dane. Go ahead, man.
what's that kid
Dane?
from the Cubs that throws 88 miles? Kyle Hendricks.
Kyle Hendricks. Another
You
one.
there?
Yeah.
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 Hendricks, we can. Yeah. He's another one. It's guys like this that they have good careers that don't necessarily have like Pedro was 150 pounds, but he threw like he was Nolan Ryan. That was a unique situation. Pedro was light, but he threw like he was Mike Tyson. Like
Yeah, he did.
yeah, it made him special. And he wasn't afraid of it, guys.
No, he wasn't, and he never backed down. And
No.
you know,
He hit you right in the face. He didn't care.
Yeah.
you know what's funny is it's so rare to see that nowadays with
Mhm.
pitchers is because of everything that it's like. Well, what about this exit velo? What about this? What about that? What about the spin rate? Like, forgetting all of the spin rate and all that crap, right? If you just have your pitchers focus on pitching, we would see more of that bulldog mentality.
Mhm.
Like Garrett Cole is the last of a dying breed because guys like Cole and CeCe and even guys like Jabba, who really came out with that intensity, are no longer around because of all of these analytics and all of the spin rates and like that. It's killing the game.
When did we start? When did we start abandoning the fundamentals that we grew up with playing baseball? That's how we learned the game. I wasn't given an iPad to look at during Little League. You had to
No.
learn how to hit.
I've never done that.
Yeah, I was hitting against the wall, against the net, against basic hitting, right? Drills, speed, all these basic things that we learned how to fundamentally play baseball. At one point, that become irrelevant, and then we had an iPad in our face. And
When Rob Manfred became commissioner, that's when it.
yeah, and that's one of the changes of the games that doesn't necessarily work for everybody.
No.
Which is why I think a hitting coach and a pitching coach with good communication skills is so important.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, so you can have that conversation because analytics might not work for players A, B, and C, but it might not work for players D, E, and F, and you have to differentiate between the three. Okay, and
Absolutely.
you have to be able to communicate it to them. So whether it's a translator or not, you have to make it applicable to them. They have to understand. Okay, this doesn't work. Okay, this guy's 6'9", you're 5'7". It's a different application.
100%. Couldn't agree more.
Who's a prime example, and I want both your opinions on this. Look at Jordan Montgomery. Okay,
Mhm.
Yankees had him. They traded him to St. Louis. St. Louis had him. St. Louis traded him to Texas. Look what Jordan Montgomery has done over the course of being with the Yankees, all the way up to last season with Texas when he got traded from St. Louis. Look what he has done to not only better his game, but better himself. And look at how he paints corners. He paints corners almost like a 15-year veteran would when they lose all their velocity. Like, he just learned how to pitch the right way. And that goes to your point, Jason, is good coaching. Good coaching is what wins games. What do you guys think? I mean,
go ahead, Dane.
I think good coaching wins games, but I come from the development side because prospects are my thing. And what the Yankees have done with their coaching staff in the minor leagues to start being better at developing pitchers has been phenomenal. What Sam Breen has done makes all the difference. And it starts at that young age, getting them used to pitching in an MLB environment. They've completely rehauled their pitching development system. They couldn't develop pitchers to save their life, and now they're good at it.
Yep.
So,
and they're deep.
I think having the right coaches makes all the difference in the world. It's a shame that Grayson went to the Mets.
True. Very true. And like, to your point too, Dane, like they had Dylan Lawson philosophy worked in the minors. It didn't translate up to the majors. He couldn't communicate why. Nobody could. So, which is one reason why they brought in Sean Casey, who related to the veterans. He related to the young kids, Dylan Lawson, because they're disciples of his system. So it was easier for them to understand it and grasp it because they were already familiar with it. Whereas the DJ LeMayhews and the other guys in the world, there's a reason why Aaron Judge uses an independent too. So, and again, this is where being able to differentiate between the two is important. And I'm hoping that James Rosen can do that. I really hope so.
He's supposed to be a mix of analytics and old school. He had a quote that was phenomenal. He said, I'm not old school or new school. I'm still in school.
There you go.
So having that kind of mentality, I think he's going to be a pretty good coach, and the connections to Judge also help.
Yep.
So
agreed. A lot of folks keep saying Roki says, we don't know yet. Just because he asked his team to post him doesn't mean they're going to.
He's got it in his contract
that he can ask for it, but they're going to be walking away from tens of millions of dollars in posting fees if they post them early. Why would
when he was in the draft, and the MPB draft works differently. You can be selected by a number of teams. He didn't go to the top team that picked him. He went to about the fourth or fifth team, so he could have the Ohtani clause in his contract.
Yeah, but there had to be a special agreement for Ohtani. The MLB Players Association and MPB made a special exception for Ohtani.
Right.
In order to get him posted early. That's talking about. And he was a historic player. He is a two-way player. He's a unique in his own right. Absolutely. But my question to folks is, what is Roki Sasaki doing that the pitchers in the major leagues are not doing? He's not unique. He throws hard. He's hyped. He throws hard. He's got a good repertoire, but what's he doing that other players here are not doing?
20 years old, throwing a perfect game is pretty special.
In Japan, not in the majors. It's a huge difference.
About 10%.
Right? No,
about 10% difference. At least that's what all the scouts say, is the differential between the MPB and the major leagues is about 10% numbers.
Could be, which goes back to somebody who's saying, and to your point too, somebody's saying that 296 is going to translate to 5. That doesn't necessarily mean that. And this is where I think the information being turned around is not the best information. This is why it's good to hear what you're hearing. It's why it's good to hear what other people are hearing, because I don't, if you got a mid threes from Yamamoto, I'd be happy. Like,
absolutely.
Threes, just because he's got a 170 there doesn't mean he's going to get a 210 here.
That could translate to him having a 410 or a 510. We just don't know.
We just don't know yet. So, and it's a very big risk for the Dodgers. And
I know Dodger fans, and there's probably going to be people here who don't agree with me, but the Dodgers keep shooting themselves in the foot with these massive contracts.
Yes.
What the Yankees offered to Yamamoto was more than fair. 10 for 300 for a guy who is unproven is more than fair.
That's not a cheap offer.
No, that is a very strong offer. And if we look at this, because this brings me to what my next topic is, which is the evil empire, as we're called. So the Dodgers spent $1.3 billion on Glasnow, Ohtani, and Yamamoto.
Mhm.
Those three players. But they still have needs that they have to fill. And it is going to be much harder to do so, even though that money for Ohtani is deferred. Great. They deferred the money. What do you do? What people don't realize is after they pay $2 million for the next 10 years, they have to pay $68 million for the next 10 years.
When he's not playing.
When he's not playing.
Right. Yeah.
That's what people seem to forget. Is great. They deferred the money. Outstanding.
Yeah.
You now owe him $2 million for 10. Then you owe him $68 million for 10. And on top of that, you're still going to have Yamamoto's contract on the books if he doesn't opt out. So
Dodgers also average 6,000 more tickets per game than any other team. The Yankees are second in baseball. They average 41,000 tickets. The Dodgers average 47. So their revenue stream is very, very high.
Yes.
As well. So they're in a regard, they're going to be making up for a portion of that.
But regardless, they still are going to have other needs. Kershaw's not going to be there forever. Okay? Mm-hmm. How long do we think Ohtani's really going to be a two-way star? Maybe 3-4 years tops? On a second Tommy John surgery?
Mm-hmm.
They've taken way too many risks this offseason. I'm not saying that they didn't make the moves that they had to. They got their two frontline starters. Not saying that. But Glasnow, his arm is made of glass. For some reason, he can't stay healthy. Yamamoto is unproven. So they don't know what they're going to get out of that. They don't know what they're going to get out of Yamamoto for 12 years. And Ohtani, they don't know if he's going to pitch past the third year.
And this is why I think it's important to not hype these people so much. Like the hype that Ryuji Sasaki is even higher than it is for Yamamoto right now.
Here's the other thing, though. The Dodgers still need another corner outfielder. You cannot have Ohtani clogging up that DH spot all of this year for an entire season. Because let's say the Dodgers want to give Mookie Betts or Freddie Freeman a half a day off. They can't do it now because Ohtani is clogging up that DH spot.
So one of them's going to have to sit.
Yep.
One of them's
going to have to sit. Or if they want to put him at the DH, Ohtani's going to have to sit. So they shot themselves in the foot with these three moves. Not saying that they're bad moves. I'm not discrediting what they've done. What I'm saying is they have shot themselves in the foot with how much they have put into three guys when the Yankees haven't spent a dime and have drastically upgraded this team.
Yes, two different approaches. Both teams are better. I mean, like, what teams have been the most active so far? The Dodgers, the Yankees, probably the Royals in their own way.
Yeah.
The Cardinals, low-key busy. But, these are teams that have been the most busiest. I know the Yankees were busy very early in the offseason, which they never are. So now it looks like they haven't done anything in forever because they were so busy early. And now we're waiting for the next batch of moves. And they're, like, quietly improving the margins in the meantime. So while they're waiting for this market to unravel in pitching. So, and I can't blame them for not overpaying for Montez, right? Or
no, you can't. Or even
$15 million after a shoulder injury. That's
1.1.
Go ahead, Dane.
No, he got 1.1 innings last year, and he got $16 million. Look at what Lucas Giolito got. I can't blame the Yankees for not paying that.
No.
They're not cheap. No. They're not cheap.
That's insanity.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then again, like I think the Yamamoto market, the overpay there is going to cause Snell and Montgomery to likely be overpaid, right?
Oh,
Which
100%.
yeah. So and but that's a given already too. So we know that. So and then you have guys like Marcus Stroman and some of these other guys, and there's going to be a lot of fits. And the trade market for starting pitching right now is very expensive. So this is where like teams like the Marlins and Mariners represent not sexy fits, good fits for the Yankees. You can still have an impactful trade and get better,
Yeah.
and that's what matters. Doesn't necessarily need to be the big names all the time. Be the right names.
No, the right names, the people that fit what we need. And I think, as you said earlier, the Marlins and the Mariners are the two teams that represent what we need the most.
Yep.
Here's a team that could be a nice trade partner, and it's a dark horse team, so don't sleep on them, would be the Cleveland Guardians. Because they have Shane Bieber. They're trying to move him. He's not going to cost nearly as much as a Corbin Burns or a Dylan Cease, because we know what the White Sox asking price is for Dylan Cease, which is astronomical. And Dane said it on not this show, or last night's show, but the one before that he was on with me, was they need to come back down to the planet Earth. They're not going to get.
He's right.
They're not going to get what they're asking for a guy who's only had one solid year and is 2 years from walking. They're not going to get it. That's like the Mariners, that's like that's like the Dodgers saying, hey, if Freeman's in his last, or Will Smith is in his last couple of years of his contract, saying, we want A, B, C, and D for Will Smith. And he hasn't had a decent, it's exactly what it's like. You cannot sit there and say, oh, we want your number 1, 2, and 3 prospects for a guy who's only had one decent year.
Yeah, and Cease reminds me of AJ Burnett. Big arm, but there's no semblance of in the middle. He's either riding the really good line or the really bad line, and there's not really much in the middle. It fluctuates on both ends of the stick, and again, he could be really dominant, and then he could be awful on the other end. So, which one we don't know, and that's, to me, it's scary, and it's not worth giving him Will Warren or Chase Hampton for.
I think you have to trade Spencer Jones to get him.
There's no way in the world I would do that.
Yeah,
no.
I wouldn't do that either. And I bring this comment up because Joan makes a valid point here. He's unknown, and Japanese pitchers sometimes develop elbow issues because of the different ball. It could be that, and also because of, if you look at what the Japanese do, they give their starters 6 days rest, not 5 days rest. So now they're transitioning from a 6-day rest period to a 5-day rest period. So now they're going every 5th day, and it's putting more strain on their arms. So it's a very valid point.
We have to give them that adjustment period too. It's just Yamamoto's going to need the adjustment period.
Yep.
It's only fair, right? Ohtani had it when he came here, just like guys like Imanaga would need it. Masahiro Tanaka had it. He had he threw 6 years with a partially torn UCL, never had Tommy John.
Yeah.
So, which is crazy. But
he was lucky.
So right.
Tanaka was so good before he got hurt.
Yes, he was.
Before he tore that UCL. Oh my gosh. Looked like the best pitcher in baseball.
Yeah, he was 24-0 before they brought him here.
Yeah.
24-0. Like, this is why I hesitate to overhype guys like Roki Sasaki so soon. There's no guarantee he's going to be a dominant. He's not prime Pedro.
No,
he's not prime Matt.
Very
he's not
true.
Prime Johnson. I'm not going to treat him accordingly until he shows that he can do that here.
But look how Kodai Senga translated right away.
But not a flashy player. It's like these unflashy players like Senga, he turned out to be a pretty good pitcher here. Just like I think Imanaga turned out to be a pretty pitcher here. Yeah. So like I worry about overhyping Yamamoto. He's got so much hype that he came with people. And when the Yankees didn't get him, people thought the earth had ended. Right? It was crazy. It's not the end of the world. It's
there
okay.
There are other pitchers out there.
There's no guarantee he's going to be an ace with the Dodgers either.
there's no guarantee that his arm is going to hold up in LA.
Yeah.
Because
No.
let's just say, for example, let's just say for all intents and purposes, he goes out, has a lousy season in his first year, okay? And the Dodgers don't win a World Series. Or let's say he even has a good year and the Dodgers still don't win a World Series. All that money that they put into that team does not guarantee them a World Series.
At the end of the day, I think he'll be good. Yamamoto, I think he'll be good.
Oh, I do too.
But I don't know.
But it doesn't guarantee them a world championship.
No, you're right.
No.
It doesn't.
You don't win the game on paper, and it's not played in December.
No.
Got that right.
Oh.
And again, that's why it's a risk no matter what we take. It's a risk with Ohtani, just like the Yankees took a risk with whoever they bring in. They took a risk with Juan Soto, took a risk with Garrett Cole. It's a risk. It's a calculated risk to get the right player. They needed Garrett Cole more than anything in the world.
They had to get Garrett Cole.
Yeah, and they had to get
was
Juan Soto too. They absolutely had to get Juan Soto. There was no doubt.
And they do.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's the risk you have to take.
And I said this to a couple of people. I've said it to Jason. I've said it to NFP. Dane, you and I have talked about this. I've said this to some of my family members who are baseball fans. There are two teams that dodged a bullet with this Yamamoto signing. The Mets and the Yankees. The Yankees dodged the bullet because now they have more money to allocate to Juan Soto at the end of this season for a contract extension so they can focus on getting him locked up. That's number one. The Mets dodged a bullet because now this gives them more of a chance to kind of take a step back, look at what they're working with, kind of rebuild that farm some more, and try and bring some of these kids that are ready up. And then get some of these guys that have these massive contracts like Lindor, guys like that off the books. They can try to focus on re-signing Alonso. So
costs a lot of money.
Those two teams, in my opinion, dodged the biggest of bullets because of Yamamoto signing with LA.
Yeah, and it's still, like the Yankees, the silver lining is they saved $300 million.
Yep.
Right. So, and they had to at some point look at alternative options because it became more apparent that he wasn't going to come. And again, he didn't come. So nothing we can do about it now. Nothing we can change. So what can the Yankees do?
Exactly.
And what can the Yankees do now to address the needs? Because Yamamoto was only going to address one spot in the rotation, not two. They're still going to need another pitcher after him too. So now the Yankees still need those same two spots.
Also, just to put this out there, someone in the chat put it out earlier. I didn't get a chance to put it up, but the Mets and Yankees among teams with interest in Gio Urshela.
Mm-hmm.
That was posted 43 minutes ago on MLB Trade Rumors.
Do you guys like that move?
Gio Urshela?
Yeah.
I think he's a better fit in Toronto than he is for the Yankees. The Yankees don't need him.
Yeah.
Toronto does.
I think Toronto will end up getting him. Honestly,
he can replace Matt Chapman. Who's he going to place on the Yankees?
Exactly.
Nobody.
No, he's a role player on the Yankees.
Yeah.
Which leads me to believe that Toronto's going to be very heavy in on him to try to land him.
Yeah.
Jonathan put that in the chat. Also, this Cuban pitcher, Yariel Rodriguez, where do you guys see him ending up? I mean, the Yankees want to bring him. So the Yankees want to bring him in as a reliever, not a starter, which is more than fair. He's got a lively arm, and he has said already, there was a report about it, that he has said that he would prefer to go to a team as a starter, but would not consider going to the bullpen. Like he would keep that, if he couldn't start, then he would be happy to pitch out of the bullpen, but he
Mhm.
wants to go to a team as a starter.
Well, my question is, who is he better than in the current Yankees bullpen? Nobody. Right? So
I
if you
could see him being.
had to choose between him and Hicks, who would you choose?
Honestly, I'd choose him.
Him?
Rodriguez.
Why? Because
Yep.
he's younger?
No, I like his fastball, his spin rates, and his slider out of the bullpen. And
Out
you
of the
could,
bullpen?
because out of the
You think he's
bullpen.
better from the
And
bullpen, right?
yes, I wouldn't touch him as a starter.
He's never thrown more than 100 innings more than once, so I wouldn't either.
No. And
He
his control is not good on his curveball and changeup when he starts either. But as a reliever, I think he's going to be a really good one.
I sure hope so. I think. Well, Mike said, where do we think he'll go? I think he could go to Boston. I think he could go to Houston too. So probably teams that we would hate for him to go to. So
Yeah, probably.
yeah,
You
and
know who I could see getting him, and this is a very good chance, would be Baltimore, the backup Kimbrel.
because I don't see Baltimore paying the price to get a Dylan Cease.
No.
So why would they?
So Lou,
I think Trevor Bauer makes a lot of sense for them.
Yeah, I do too. That's a good point. Hector, what's up, man?
Go on, Heck.
just a quick shout out to the chat: CWE, Bryce, Aiden, Hector, Jonathan, Brad, Benji, Joan, JJ, all of you guys. Thank you for stopping in. Don Johnson, thank you, Zach. All of you guys. I know I didn't get to do a roll call. Tats, welcome, bud. But thank you all for joining me on New Year's Eve. I know we're getting to 2024, boys, but no.
Shout out to everybody. Shout out to everybody. If I can, I'm going to draw Zach's comments. He's taking a couple shots at me, so I'm going to give you a chance. I'm going to address you now, Zach. Okay, I'm going to give you a chance to rebut. Okay.
Which
and Zach Brownish. I'll call you out too.
Which one?
I'll call anybody. I'm not afraid to call people out.
Senga?
Okay? No idea. We're talking about Senga. I never said he wasn't good. I said he wasn't hyped like Yamamoto. Let's make that clear right now. He was good, yes. So is Imanaga. They're both good. Okay? I didn't say that. So make sure you get it right when you accuse me of saying something. Okay? Let me tell you that again. Okay? I didn't say he wasn't good. He's good. I said he was good with the Mets. He had a good season with the Mets. Okay? Can't take that away from him. But he wasn't hyped like Yamamoto. And he wasn't hyped like Hiroki Sasaki is. That's clear. I think Dane can agree with that. Dane knows what he's talking about too. He wasn't hyped like these guys. But he's good.
We're close.
Yeah. Yeah. So this is a low-key huge win for the Mets.
Yes.
They got a gem. Could I say that?
Oh, they did. Absolutely.
Oh, absolutely.
So
my question to both of you guys would be, what do you think the next move is
for the Yankees?
For the Yankees.
I'm thinking probably Monty. I think they're going to decide on Monty, a decision on Monty.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a pitcher. I couldn't tell you which one because the market seems to change every day, but that's just my guess.
I think it'll be a trade for a pitcher, but it's not going to involve Warren, Hampton, Lalani, or Selvage. It's not going to involve any arms. It's going to involve bats. And this is just to put this out there. This is just a prediction, so it's not guaranteed that it's going to happen. So let's, put that out there so everyone understands that for a second. But I think it'll be a deal with Miami for Trevor Rogers.
Trevor Rogers.
I could see that. Again, we talked about Miami and the Marlins. Trevor Rogers would make a lot of sense.
And you probably wouldn't have to move Torres for him either.
Nope. You would
Probably not Peraza, Pereira.
Nope. You would.
And maybe a catcher too.
Yeah.
Narvaez.
Yeah.
Bartvet.
You could. So I could see a deal being wrapped around Herrera because we have no room for him. He's blocked by Jones, Soto, Verdugo, Judge, Dominguez. 5 guys right there. So he's got no. We have no spot for him. He's not even a 4th outfielder because that's Trent Christian's spot now. Yeah. So I could see Pereira and Rortvet being in the center of that deal, and then maybe you give him some cash or something, or maybe a lower level prospect to get that deal done.
And I think Dane brought this up too. I think the platoon for the Yankees, and he brought this up, I think a week ago, is it's probably going to be Austin Wells and Jose Trevino, right? That's probably the best platoon for the Yankees on the
for now.
Right? Oh yeah, I agree. I
yes,
agree with you. That makes the most sense. So, so I could see a Rortvedt getting moved because there's no room for him, or Narvaez being moved. There's no room for these guys. So I think they have a pretty decent platoon right now. They have five catches on the 40-man still, right? Or is
Before
it 4?
we traded Higgy, we had 6.
Yeah, so we have 5 on the 40-man.
Okay. Yes, 5.
Yep.
So that's what I see happening.
Plus Ben Rice is in AA, so he goes back and forth.
Yeah, that's a good point.
The other thing is, what are we doing in regards? What do you think the Yankees are going to do in regards to signing guys? Because there have been rumors that the Yankees have been like the hater and this and that, and Dane and I have talked about this, and Jason, you and I have as well. But Dane, I want your opinion on this, and then throw it over to Jason. But what do you see? Like, what do you think their plan is for signing someone?
If it's not Monty, I don't know that they sign anybody. I think the more likely route is the trade route to me.
I agree.
I just don't see them being willing to dish out another huge contract for a guy that they're not really in love with and lock him up for the rest of Aaron Judge's career.
Did you hear anything about this? I'm sorry, Jason. Did you two hear anything about this? Because I didn't hear anything about this, so I didn't know.
Haven't heard anything yet, Carl. Let's take a look and see. It haven't yet, but I agree with Dane. I mean, honestly, like the most logical guy to sign would be Monty. If not Monty, if they want to sign a pitcher, probably Imanaga. After those two, I don't know. Maybe a reliever, but again, does it make sense to sign Hader before signing 2 starters? It's just, and I don't know if Hader's approach is going to work in New York. So they would eat him alive here, probably. If he want to work, I'm not sure.
If he refused a 4-out, if Hader refused a 4-out save in New York, he wouldn't make it out of that stadium.
No,
exactly. They give him the Joey Gallo treatment. Joey Gallo was afraid to leave his apartment.
He would be alive.
He's absolutely right, man. Like I would choose Yariel Rodriguez or Jordan Hicks over Snell. I mean, over Hader.
100%.
And so I think there's a limited amount of guys that they would sign. Monty, Imanaga, maybe a reliever or an international reliever like Yariel. So aside from that, maybe another bench piece. Maybe. I can't see who else they would sign. Unless they trade out Loizaga or Tommy Canely to clear some payroll to move somebody like.
I could see Canely going.
I could see it too. Because now that they brought in Cody Morris from the Cleveland Guardians, he got that familiarity with Matt Blake, and he's got 3 years of control. And essentially, like this kid Gonzalez from the Dodgers, I consider him to be Wandy on the cheap. Because he's got 3 years of control too. So there's no guarantee that he brings Wandy back either, even though I like Wandy. But I don't know.
I want him to look. I want him to look at Brian Hudson that the Dodgers just cut. Big left-hand reliever, great ground ball rate.
He's
I
big.
would take him.
Big, right? Isn't he huge?
He's 6'5", 6'6".
Yep.
Yeah, he's a lefty. Yeah.
Yep.
JJ asked, why don't you like Snell? And I'm going to tell you now, it's not that I don't like Snell. It's just I don't think the investment on Snell is worth the risk. I don't care that he won 2 Cy Young awards. I don't care about that. The fact of the matter is he has not pitched over 180 innings at all in his career. This was the first time he pitched 180 innings, for one. And two, he does not go in deep into games, which means your bullpen's going to have to work extra hard to close games out, and you're going to have a blown-out bullpen by the middle of the season. It's not that I don't like him. It's just the risk is not worth the investment.
Which leads me to a question I want to ask both you guys. Would you? I think it would be a good idea for them to consider converting Nestor Cortez into long relief and bringing Luis Hill back into long relief and having those two guys for this year be in long relief to keep them healthy. Okay, and Luis Hill's coming off Tommy John. It's a good way to ease him back into starting pitching if they want to do that. And Nestor Cortez hasn't shown the ability to throw a full season without staying healthy. I would rather have 2 healthy long relief guys for the whole entire season than half a season of healthy guys in the rotation.
Absolutely.
I don't know about you, but
I'm 100%.
it would be a good fit from the rotation. And like, let's just say if Garrett Cole, has a bad day and he can't get out through the 3rd inning, you can bring one of these guys in for 3 or 4 innings, and that's the difference between using 3 pitchers and 9 in the game, which the Yankees have done far too many times.
Yeah.
So I think having 2 long relief guys would be a good idea. What's your take on that, guys?
Yeah, I would agree with that, especially because there's a 3rd guy in Yoendrys Gomes who could fit that role really well as well.
100%.
So you could have any of those 3 do that 3-4 inning role. Gomes did that very, very well in AA all year. He could do that again.
Good point.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I think that would be the smart move. Actually, I pulled up a comment that Rob from the Pinstripe Chronicles had made, which was get me Edward Cabrera. I like that for the very reasons that Dane brought up earlier. He is young. He has controllable years, and he has one of the best arms in that entire system. It's better than Sixto's. Not by much, but it's better than Sixto's. It's not as good as Yuri's, but it's up there. It's better than Trevor Rogers' arm, and it's certainly better than Braxton Garrett's arm, and he can certainly stay a lot healthier. Plus, his durability to go deeper into games is something else that I like. So I like the comment that Rob made, which was get me Edward Cabrera, because that would be a really nice piece. It's not the sexiest move, but at the same time it is. And it's a very smart move. It's a creative move. So I agree with Rob 100% on that.
And the Yankees like big right-handed pitchers who throw hard.
Yes.
I like them.
And that's exactly what he is.
Yep. So good fit. Good fit.
Yeah. And he could turn into something special if he got the command dialed in a little bit.
Yep. That's what Matt Blake's for.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I saw something earlier. Somebody mentioned where they thought Spencer Jones was going to play versus Jason Dominguez. What do you guys think?
I think that Spencer Jones is one of the very few guys who they could convert to a first baseman if they wanted to keep his bat here. Now, that poses the question of what to do with Ben Rice also, because he can translate the first base as well. But in a couple of years, I think Aaron Judge is probably going to convert to DH. Excuse me. Which, excuse me, guys, the allergies in here. And if Aaron Judge converts to DH when let's just say when Giancarlo Stanton's contract is up, that opens up a right field bat or an outfield bat. where you can keep him there, or if you want to keep his bat in the lineup, but you want to keep him in the outfield with Soto and Dominguez, and you want to keep Spencer Jones, this is a way to do it as well.
Yeah.
Move him to first base. Lefty power hitting first baseman, who has a higher upside than Greg Bird. So, who's killing it in the Australian League right now. But
Yeah, leading them in home runs.
yeah, he's crushing the ball in Australia. But
Good for him.
yeah. But
I'm all for it, man.
I think it would be wise for them to find the way to keep Spencer Jones in this lineup if he turns into be what we think he's going to turn into be.
I think we're going to find out this year what he's going to turn into, because the strikeouts and the 2-strike approach either have to change or he's in big trouble.
Yeah.
But defensively, he's a better center fielder than Jason Dominguez, and it's not really close.
And he stole 43 bases.
That's the insane thing, is he's almost just as tall as Judge with speed. I mean, that is a very scary thought to think about. A kid at 6'5", 6'6", stealing 43 bags. Excuse me, 6'7", stealing 43 bags.
And to Dane's point too, he's adopted Aaron Judge's hitting coach this offseason as well, to work on his 2-strike approach, to help him get better in the areas where he needs to get better. So kudos to him for that. And it was
the exact coach that he needed.
Yep. So I'm really happy to hear him doing that. He's doing that. So, and I hope it works out the way we hope it works out. So
if it does, he could be up this year and be special.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. I think he's going to be a special talent. That's going to be someone to keep. I wouldn't trade him unless someone blew me away with a complete offer that I would have no hesitation of taking. He's an untouchable. But the offer has to be to the point where it's hard to say no.
Who would you trade him for?
At this point, the only player I would have traded for was Juan Soto, but that would have been it.
You wouldn't trade him for Burns straight up?
Nope.
Corbin Burns?
Not for 1 year, Corbin Burns. Not for 1 year. Unless Corbin Burns was planning on signing an extension, absolutely not.
And he won't. So
that's my point, is I wouldn't do it. I think he's got too much upside to be traded. Like I said, the only player I would have traded him for would have been Juan Soto, but we didn't have to trade him for Juan Soto. We got Juan Soto.
We didn't have to trade Dominguez for him either, so I'm happy we didn't have to trade Juan Soto. So
exactly.
All three of them are here now.
Exactly.
So I'll take that all day. And Chris the Flash's comment, he thinks we're getting Montgomery and trading for Bieber. Would you guys be okay with that? Monty and trading.
I would be okay with it. I would be okay with it.
I would be okay with it. I would be okay with it, but it's not the first move I would like to see them make.
Exactly. I'm with Dane on that. I think that the first move that they should be really considering is a trade with Miami, because they're a perfect trade partner. You don't have to give up. You have to give up something, but you don't have to give up a whole lot.
Agreed.
And I doubt that Steinbrenner is going to let Soto walk, because he said at the beginning of the offseason and after he got him, he would give up his 22nd pick just to re-sign him.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys heard that, but he had said that it was going to be Soto next year for the offseason. That was going to be the big spend they were going to make next year, which was to lock up Soto. And that's what they were focused on.
Yeah.
As they should be.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Who else could they have gotten that would have been better than Soto?
Nobody.
Absolutely nobody.
Yeah.
Soto is a Jason, you've heard me say this on several occasions. Soto is a franchise-altering superstar. He is 100%. A once-in-a-lifetime player. He is a generational superstar. He may not be the best fielder. He may not be the fastest person on the field. but that boy can drive and runs. He is an all fields hitter. He hits to all fields.
And to your point,
Yeah.
too, one of the benefits for having Verdugo, since he's a superior defender in the outfield, is you can play him in left and Soto in right.
Yep.
Yes.
Soto is a -10 defensive run saved in his career from left field, but he's +1 defensive run saved in right field. Verdugo was +9 just last year alone in the outfield. The Yankees were -26. So the upgrade defensive quality has gone through the roof just by bringing in Verdugo here. And if they strategically put him left and they put Soto in right, or even switch Soto with Judge here and there, the Yankees outfield defense has gotten so much better.
And you got a Gold Glove defender in Grisham as your fourth.
Amen. Yep.
And here's something else about Soto that not a lot of people think about, and I have said this on several occasions. Who is Soto the perfect mentor for?
Jason Dominguez.
Bingo. Do you know how much he's going to elevate Jason Dominguez's game? He's going to be the guy that Jason Dominguez would go to or should go to and be like, hey, can I pick your brain? What am I doing wrong? What do I need to do better?
100%.
What adjustments do I need to make? And I can almost guarantee you Soto's going to have zero issue with that because that's the type of player that Soto is. He is going to be that perfect mentor for Jason Dominguez, and I can guarantee you Dominguez's game is going to skyrocket when he picks Soto's brain.
That's a good point.
They have similar approaches at the plate, too, as far as their plate discipline. If Soto can teach Dominguez just a little bit more about that, he could really be even more special than I think he's going to be.
Yeah. And just think of having a lineup with both Soto and Dominguez in it. Dominguez with an elevated game and Juan Soto in it. That could be a very lethal combination right there. And if you have Dominguez lead off with Soto hitting right behind him, that's a 1-2 punch I'd be very afraid of.
Is there a better 1-2-3 in baseball than Dominguez, Soto, Judge?
No, not that I can think of.
That's a scary 1-2-3.
That is a very scary 1-2-3.
Very scary.
And if Austin Wells,
right? They want to have that link because if they had just gotten Soto, pitchers could have just pitched around him and Judge, knowing that the rest of the team wasn't going to drive them in. But now they have so much more length in this lineup where it's going to be impossible for pitchers to do that.
Yeah, Verdugo, Judge, Soto. You've got DJ when he's healthy. You've got Volpe and Rizzo.
Yep.
We have lengthened out this lineup within 2 moves being made in 24 hours of each other.
Yep.
Yeah.
That is a scary thought to think about. That in 24 hours, you have lengthened your lineup tenfold. And that is something to think about. That just goes to show you that Hal is done getting his name dragged through the mud, and that he is saying that the evil empire is back. And they are going to do whatever it takes. And he proved it. And that's the other thing. There was a lot of people blaming. There were people that I actually had seen that were blaming Cashman and Hal for not getting Yamamoto. I'm just going to put an end to this now. The two of them did everything right. They did everything they could. They showed their best hand possible. They went out to Japan for an entire year to go scout him.
Yep.
They gave him probably the best offer that any team could have, except for the Dodgers, who decided to overpay. And then they had 2 different meetings with him. They gave him his own number 18 jersey. They gave him everything they possibly could.
They also gave him the earliest opt-out.
Yep.
In their contract.
Yes, they did.
And Yamamoto also said in the Dodgers press conference that no matter where Ohtani was going to go, that he was probably going to go to the Dodgers anyway. So that tells me the Yankees probably did dodge a bullet. Maybe he wouldn't have been the right fit here.
Maybe
not.
Don't know. So
I thought he wanted to be his own guy, and I think
Yeah.
he wants the buffer of Ohtani to be
fireworks.
Fireworks or the gun just went off over at McCord Air Force Base.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
We're getting some fireworks here too. It's easy, like you said too, Dan. It's easier to get a buffer in LA than it is in New York, man.
Yeah.
New York, you're dealing with yellow jackets in LA. You're dealing with hornets in New York. Killer hornets.
100%.
Oh, absolutely.
It's a whole different,
completely different beat.
idea.
In
They
LA,
all-
in LA they care about their team, but they're not like us where if something goes wrong, we jump down everybody's fucking throat for it.
It's relentless here, and you tell them to stop, they're gonna go even harder.
100%.
They don't.
Absolutely.
That's why guys like Giancarlo Stanton who take accountability don't get booed off the field like Aaron Hicks did, who didn't.
Yeah.
But I think we'll see Stanton if he doesn't turn it around. It doesn't matter how bad he says he is. If he doesn't play well, he's going to hear it next year.
Yeah, but I give him credit, like you said too, Dan. He is a total pro when he owns his shit. He owns his bad play, takes account, he answers the hard questions, he owns it. And I got to give IKF, he did the same thing.
Yeah,
he got abused here by a lot of fans.
He did.
He owned up all of his stuff. So they both acted like adults and total pros. So
they were very professional.
Yeah, I'll never forget that. I
remember
always
one interview that I saw that Stanton did. He's like, I blame myself. I need to be healthy.
Yeah.
I'm not healthy. I know I'm not healthy.
No.
I know I can't stay on the field, and that's my fault. That's not the Yankees' fault. It's not Yankee fans' fault. It's my fault. I know this, and went on this entire rant for about 25 minutes with the media because they kept asking him the same stupid question over and over. And he's like, look, short and sweet, I screwed up. I got hurt. It's my fault. And now I got to pay the price for it. Oh, well, I suck it up and I go out and do my job.
That's it. And believe me, we are just dying to cheer for this guy.
Oh, 100%.
Like, I'm waiting for him to hit one of those rockets again.
Like he did in Boston.
Yeah, in Boston when he hit it out of the stadium twice. So like when Judge hit his 60th and then Stanton hit that walk-off grand slam off the Pirates, it left the stadium like a second and a half. I was jumping through my fucking seat. I
remember that.
No better feeling in the world. No better feeling.
We want to cheer. So
I don't want to boo Stanton. I love Stanton. It's one of my favorite Yankees. And go ahead, man.
Completely different topic, but what do you see the Dodgers doing with Dustin May?
Oh.
I think they're going to want to compliment because he's coming off TJ too, right?
Yep.
They're going to have to compliment Glasnow and Ohtani and Yamamoto with some, just like the Yankees. They're going to need a couple of cheap arms. They're going to hopefully hit with some of these cheap arms to balance out some of these huge contracts. So Dustin May and who else is there? Gonsolin,
Bobby Miller.
Bueller. They might move one of these guys for something, but then they're going to want to try to. I think they're going to want to try to keep two of them in the rotation to have some young, controllable arms.
I think
they're not short on arms in their system either, but they have some.
I think
they can move They can move one of them. Absolutely.
I think Dustin May might end up getting cut. And I don't mean this in a bad way. I just don't think that he can stay out. Huh?
Like a DFA? Like designated
No, I'm not saying designated for assignment. I'm saying like just a trip down in the minors to get his shit together because he can't seem to stay healthy. He's been hurt a lot for a young kid. And it's sad to see because he's got one of the most lively arms you'll see in the game. I mean, he tops out at 101, throws from 96 to 99 with a devastating breaking ball. And it's sad to say, but I think they're going to send him to AAA to get his shit together because he can't stay healthy and see if he can, pitch.
But does he have an option left? He's
I don't
been in
know.
the
I would have to look, but if he does, I think that's what ends up happening. Walker Buehler, I don't know. Walker Buehler's another story. I mean, he's got a great arm. Don't get me wrong, but he's got to be the guy that stays healthy. He's got to be.
He's
that
a free
guy.
agent after this year. Would you have any interest in him as a free agent? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I would, but my thing is,
Gotta stay healthy.
I don't want to give him a massive overpay for a deal because of the fact that he is coming off injury and we don't know how he's going to perform.
Fair point.
Very good point.
Fair point. He's one of these guys. Like, these guys are remnants of a very highly touted Dodgers farm system, which has done a great job. High-end pitchers, high-end prospect players. Muncy, you got Gavin Lux. You have all these guys that have come through the system and played well. And at some point, they're bringing in an infusion of guys like Freddie Freeman and Mookie Betts, where at some point, there's no room for all these guys.
Right.
So, and then sometimes they get moved in trades for other expensive players. So you might be right. I mean, one of these guys might be expendable, like a Buehler or a May.
But as Brad said, May, Buehler, and Gonsolin are all injury prone, and that's going to hurt them.
True.
That's going to be very hard to combat, especially if all three go down again.
True. This is true.
I'd rather the Yankees go next year, spend the money on Soto, re-sign him, and if they are going to get another pitcher next year, go after a guy like a Burns or a Shane Bieber. But
I think by next year you're going to have some really good internal options with the Yankees. Brendan Beck, Brock Selvage, those guys. I think that at least one of them steps into the rotation next year. Not in 2024, 2025.
Selvage is a good-looking pitcher. Selvage is a good-looking player.
He is.
And this is the first time that I can remember the Yankees having this many good quality pitching prospects. I can't remember the last time they've had this many.
They've never had this kind of pitching depth. I've been following that system for 20 years, and they've never had the kind of talent that
last time I heard, a guy that was this highly touted was Brian Taylor, like some of these guys. And, he went with number one, and then he blew out his arm defending his brother in a bar fight, and he tore his shoulder, his rotator cuff, and everything else. So it just went to hell for him, unfortunately. And he was full of promise. And then after him, we had a couple other guys. We have Eric Milton, never really worked out. We had Jabba and Phil Hughes.
Ian Kennedy.
That was a nice group of pitchers there.
They were supposed to have the killer bees, Betances, Brackman, and
Banuelos.
That's right, Manny Banuelos. That's right. They brought Banuelos back last year.
Yeah.
For a little bit. I don't know
he looked like a good starter before he got hurt.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he had some nice stuff from the left-hand side. He had some
did.
nice pitching arsenal.
I want your opinion on something before we wrap this up.
Okay.
But there we go. Soto wants top money. He has zero team loyalty.
Seen his Instagram page?
What's up?
I said for no loyalty, he's put his Yankees all over his Instagram page the second that he got found out he got traded. I think he wants to be a New York Yankee, and his dad has come out and said that he's going to go to every game of Soto's this year. His dad is a huge Yankees fan. I don't think Juan Soto's leaving.
I can't wait to see him in the Bronx.
Oh, I can't either. I can't wait to turn on because I get it off of the MLB thing, the MLB package. I can't wait to watch his first spring training at bat and watch him just clock one.
I already put my order in for opening day tickets. So, And I've already put in an order for when the Dodgers come to town to play them in June because I want to see you guys play the Dodgers.
Here's a good point. Soto's father is a lifelong Yankee fan. His family, friends, lives in New York City.
He's a better fit here, I think, than anyone else would have been for this team.
Yeah,
he represents.
There's no one that was
every box.
Every single one. There was not a better player in the world to go after than Juan Soto, and including fit-wise. He's a great, phenomenal, generational player, but just the fit with Judge and Dominguez, he was the perfect guy.
100%. 1,000%. 1,000%.
Here's a question. Maybe you guys can answer this. What if Soto uses the Yankees to hype his price like Yamamoto did?
I don't think he would. Scott Boras will.
Scott Boras will, and Soto's going to get a ton of money. But
Soto's going to get paid regardless.
Yeah. But I truly believe he wants to be a Yankee. We at NYU, we have some Dominican connections that know him. He wanted to be a Yankee for a long time. And I don't think that there's any chance he leaves if the Yankees present him with a fair offer.
It's true. I think it's a good point.
So,
it's a good point. Again, like Scott Boras has the argument to ask for the moon for Juan Soto. He has the argument. Now that Ohtani's got it, it's going to make it easier for Scott Boras to argue for it. He's 5 years younger. He's a generational player who's younger than these generational player that the Dodgers just signed. So,
and let me ask you something: who would you rather have, Soto or Ohtani?
Soto, without hesitation.
Soto.
Same with me.
Not
Soto.
even a second thought.
No, the gap between I'm not taking anything away from Ohtani because Ohtani's a fucking superstar. But the gap between Soto and Ohtani on who I would take is the size of the Grand Canyon. Easily. No questions asked.
Yeah.
Couldn't agree more.
You cannot look at Soto and not want the kid. If you remember, I'm going to try to get the clip up. When Soto was at Yankee Stadium with the Padres.
He hit that upper deck shot.
Yeah. And you saw how amped he got because he knew he had just taken a ball 432 feet, which is unheard of at Yankee Stadium, especially in the right field at that level. That's a special, special talent. I'm going to bring that clip up.
This is an all due respect to people, too, who say Soto's overrated. All due respect to folks, but, he has a higher career on-base percentage than Ohtani. He has a higher career batting average than Ohtani. He has a ring. He has a home run derby title. He has all these things that Ohtani does not have. And he's 5 years younger. And they're only 10 home runs apart from each other in their career. So that's all due respect to people who say Soto's overrated. The stats don't lie. Look every single one of these up. So I'm not saying Ohtani's overrated because he's not. He's a beast. But Soto is the perfect fit for the Yankees team. And all due respect to the people who say he's overrated, I respectfully disagree with that.
He gets on base 40% of the time.
Yeah. Yep. And if you put him in front of Judge, give him opportunities, my goodness gracious.
So here's that clip, just since we've got it up. And it was all Johnny.
Hey, it's Adam from StreamYard. We have an exciting new feature to announce called Green Room, which is now available only on the business
I love the ads that play.
plan. Green Room is a waiting area for guests to prepare with.
There's a drive to right. Juan Soto stares it down. It is long gone.
I told you, Wayne. I said it.
But that's the kind of hitter he is.
Get used to that, Yankees fans.
He took a mistake by a young pitcher and put it 432 feet out of Yankee Stadium. And you saw the interview last night, and Dane, you remember I was saying, if a guy's going to pimp it, let him fucking pimp it.
Yeah.
I made a bad pitch. If I don't want him to pimp it, I better be making a better pitch than that.
Yeah, and call him overrated. He's overrated with us, so I'll take that.
Yep.
I'll take that all day.
But-
And
Me
I just want
too.
to bring something up before we wrap this up, and this is in all due respect to Roki Sasaki, and this is not disrespect towards Dane brought up a point about Roki Sasaki throwing a perfect game,
Mm-hmm.
okay, which he did on April 10th, 2022.
Mm-hmm.
So did Shota Imanaga. Anybody know that?
No, I did not.
Shota Imanaga. Okay, I don't know if it's perfect game or no hitter, but I'll give you this. I'll give you the dates. Imanaga, June 7th, 2022. Kei Igawa threw one also.
I
Okay,
remember that.
October 4th, 2004. So
Wow.
all these guys are on the board having done something remarkable in Japan. So this is why I stop short of hyping people too much, because it creates unfair
Fair point.
expectations on them.
Very fair.
Fair point.
Guys have all thrown perfect games and no hitters in Japan.
Absolutely.
So let's not take anything away from Roki Sasaki. He's an exciting player. There's no doubt about it. He's special. It's impossible to deny. But at the
Yeah.
time, so was Imanaga. So was Kei Igawa at the time.
Yeah.
It just didn't translate for Igawa. We don't know if it's going to translate for Imanaga yet. We don't know if it's going to translate to Yamamoto.
Yep.
So I hope it does. But until that happens,
He's unproven.
unproven.
But anyways,
So-
guys, this is gonna wrap things up for us. Dane, thank you. Jason, thank you. We are gonna be live tomorrow as well.
Dane, thank you for your points tonight. You made good points, man.
Yeah,
Thanks, Jason.
Appreciate you. Same
we
thing,
are
man.
You too.
Thank you. We are going to be live tomorrow, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 10 Eastern Standard Time. We are going to try to see. I'm going to try to see if I can get Java on tomorrow. I apologize about that. But we had a great interview last night. If you have not seen that, please check that out. Dane, Jason, you are both invited for that tomorrow.
Thank you.
It was.
Thank you.
And it's going to be fantastic one way or the other. I enjoy talking baseball with both of you guys. You both are so knowledgeable about this team, and Dane with the prospects. If you guys have not done so, please check out 161 River Ave and NYY Underground. That is where you will find Jason and Dane. Both channels are fantastic channels, great content. Both give out multiple points of content. Please subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so. There's others in the chat as well. Hector at Morning Drew Sports, Chris the Flash at Flash Sports, Flash Shy Talk Sports. We've got NFE at the Strike Zone. Please check him out. Tats and Rob at the Pinstripe Chronicles. Please show all of them love. Go like, subscribe, share all their stuff. Until next time, guys, thank you all so much. Have a safe and happy new year, and I will see you in 2024.
Thank you for everybody for what you do for us.
Thank you, guys. Thank
Peace and love,
you.
everybody.